Welcome back. We are here with Tank, we're here with Baron, and we've got a special guest in Coach Alex. Our hot topic, our Prem preview, going to open up with Manchester United's journey, their rise back to the Premier League contention after the retirement of Sir Alex Ferguson. First up, we're going to go to the Baron. Give us a breakdown of Sir Alex Ferguson's era.
Yeah, so Sir Alex Ferguson took over in 1986 and he was struggling when he took over. After his first 6 years, he won a FA Cup.
It took him 6 years to win the first trophy?
In his first 6 years, he won an FA Cup.
Okay.
That's all the trophies he won. It was 2 11th place finishes. There was cause of fans wanting him to get sacked. So 6 years. In 1992 was his first Premier League title. Nowadays you don't even get 3 years at the top. He was given the time. He was given the backing. Obviously, the rest is history. A legend, best ever Premier League manager. I don't think it will ever be topped.
Wasn't that Frank Lampard?
No Chelsea talk today, guys.
I'm sure Tank has a few more
words
tips to say about him.
Yeah, obviously, like you said, he went on to be very, very successful. 13 Premier League titles, 2 Champions Leagues, 26 seasons in charge. But just more than anything, I grew up as an Arsenal fan, but I watched every single Man United game. I loved watching Man United play. Even as an Arsenal fan, the style was completely different to what Wenger was doing. The pace, the power down the wings, people like Giggs, obviously Paul Scholes, what a player he was. And they all came through the youth academy at Man United as well. All brought through at very young ages. He tossed out all the senior players famously, all these players that had won him many, many trophies, and then brought through the Neville brothers and Beckham, Scholes, Giggs all at once. What did you make of it as a Man United fan, Coach Alex?
That man shaped my childhood. I mean, one of my first footballing memories was watching Cantona score that volley in the last minute against Liverpool in the FA Cup final. He just did so many things. I mean, I was a 7-year-old kid watching Cantona score goal after goal. At that age, I didn't pay as much attention to the manager as the actual stars kicking the ball on the pitch. That kind of became an afterthought when I got to kind of maybe 10, 11 years old, and we picked up the treble, and I realised that it was a real honour to be a United fan. And to be honest, I took it for granted all those years, all those titles. Even the years we didn't win it, there wasn't that many years where we were completely out of it. And then the man, he just said goodbye one day, and I just thought the next guy will come in and do the same. You only realise what you've got once it's gone, as they say, and we really took him for granted.
Yeah, Arsenal fans obviously finding that out right now as well. A lot of criticism Wenger got as he left. Yeah. Things have not been so rosy since he left.
Some great stuff. I thought the thing that stood out for me, with Sir Alex Ferguson and his interviews later on, past players have always said he knew how to manage people. He knew how to deal with the big egos. Obviously, there's a lot of that now, and certain managers currently in this climate struggling to deal with the big egos and the big superstars. He was always able to, deal with the Cristiano Ronaldos, the Eric Cantonas, the Beckhams, the Roy Keanes. And that's a testament to him and him getting the best out of players. I even remember his last Premier League title and the squad that he had, and you look at it on paper and you're like, that isn't such a superstar squad, but he was
experienced, right, as well.
Oh, the mental part of the game for me, I coach as well. I heavily emphasize. So Alex Ferguson was an absolute
winner, right?
A winner. Yeah, there was the Fergie effect, right, when your team was either drawing or winning in the last minute and to the last second. So Alex Ferguson's teams had an identity where they were in your faces to the last second and scoring a ton of goals. So obviously 8 years down the line, Man United fans are seeing just how hard it was to fill, such massive shoes.
There were some big personalities in that team, in that squad, right? But also he wasn't afraid to go to war with some of these guys.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of Roy Keane stories, right, and how he left. He's very much an alpha in the dressing room, and Sir Alex Ferguson had to manage that for so long. And
Jaap Stam as well.
Yeah, Jaap Stam, Gary Pallister.
What was it? Kicks the boot up Beckham's head.
Yeah. Which leads me on, big shoes to fill. First up, somewhat, or the media sort of says that David Moyes was the groomed person to come in, and Sir Alex Ferguson wanted him to come in. Obviously, both Scottish. So Mr. David Moyes coming from Everton was the man to fill in the shoes first off. And how do you think he did, Tank?
Well, like you said, he inherited a team of champions. It was definitely a team in the final kind of years, players wanting to leave at that point. I heard an interview with Rio Ferdinand as well. One of the things he said, Sir Alex Ferguson would always tell them, just go out there, do your thing, always talking about their strengths. Whereas David Moyes came in, and one of the first things he was doing was showing them our clips of Eden Hazard and saying, you need to keep your eye on this guy, and barely talking about their strengths. And he says he wished they would have just took the leash off and let Man United go at them, that they were better than these teams. But he felt that they were too much concentrating on what the opponents were doing rather than what Man United could do.
Yeah, I think I even heard something like Rio Ferdinand said something like David Moyes showed him sort of clips of how to defend and of Phil Jagielka back in his Everton days. So I'm sure that went down really well with Big Rio. What was your take on the Moyes era there, Coach?
I was supportive in the beginning. It was always going to be a hard act to follow. Cherry picked by Ferguson. He must see something. He did overachieve with Everton for a long, long time, with no money to spend, and they were organised. I thought we could have done worse. I didn't feel like it was the most exciting pick at the time, but he had Premier League pedigree, and I thought, it was an okay decision. As much as at the time I felt it was right for him to go, I was upset when we sacked the manager. I spent my whole life looking at clubs that bring a manager in and 2 years later sack him, and the cycle goes on. And I looked at all these clubs and thought, we're better than that. We give managers time. And you look at Arsenal, you look at United, and they had this success because they had these managers in there and they had that stability. And I didn't want us to become a club that just sacked the manager every year. So it was upsetting when he was fired, but at the time I was supportive in the decision, if that makes any sense. I feel like whoever you got in there, even if Mourinho had gone straight in there after Fergie, I think that it was always going to come falling down like a deck of cards. Yeah. I just feel like Fergie extracted. I mean, if you look at the centre midfield pairing of that winning side, the majority of the games are filled in, I think, by Tom Cleverley and Anderson. And
exactly, yeah.
But do you feel like Moyes was backed enough? Because you look at his signings of the managers that followed, he wasn't really given a lot. He was given 69 million, and he brought in two players, Marouane Fellaini and Juan Mata, and that was it.
You've got to remember that Gaal walked out the exact same time as Fergie did. And I think that was just as big a loss, if not more, in some respect.
That's when fan favourite Ed Woodward joined, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Fergie would say to Gaal, I want this player, or I want a player that does this kind of things. Here's, a selection of names, get me one of these. And Ed Woodward just shot himself in the foot for the first 4, 5, 6 windows. Just the chasing of unrealistic targets, the Bale, the Cesc, the Thiago, all those kind of names that were bandied around.
Kroos, right?
Yeah, these players that we were never going to get, and then ended up having to get Fellaini. I mean, he looks like he's getting slightly better. I think Mata was a player that Moyes maybe identified and said, I want this guy, and he pulled him in. So I think he was backed in that respect, but then he was fired 3 months after that. So
also, there's something I wanted to mention there as well. At the time of his sacking, he only had got 5 points from a possible 24 versus Liverpool, Chelsea, Man City and Arsenal out of 24. Yeah. He basically made Man United like the Everton, who couldn't really win against the top four either.
I mean, for me, mentally, Moyes lost me when we played at home at Old Trafford against a Newcastle team that was struggling for goals. His pre-match interview, when someone asked, should be a 3 points today, you really got to go out and attack them, he said, we're going to have to sit off them because they're a really dangerous team.
Who was next, mate?
Well, for a little bit, it actually was Ryan Giggs. It was such a short time. It was Ryan Giggs and then Louis van Gaal. Potentially two coaches, one inexperienced and one super experienced.
Yeah, I think
their own different philosophies.
Yeah, Giggs was just a caretaker manager, right? He only got 4 games in charge. He said it himself at the time that he wasn't ready, yet he was also saying at the same time that he wanted the job, so it was a bit misleading. One thing you have to say, he's obviously very loyal throughout his career. 29 years at the football club, 8 years with his little brother's missus. Even in his disloyalty, he was very loyal, so...
And he was also loyal to Wales, wasn't he? He could have transferred to England at a young age, I believe, right? Mm-hmm. To an English nationality to play for the England national team. But so he was loyal in some aspects of his life and in others not so much.
Yeah.
So Louis van Gaal was next, and obviously he's extremely experienced, renowned for his philosophy, playing out from the back, possession based, all that sort of stuff. Coach Alex, how did you think he did?
I think he came and he had a philosophy. He's obviously had great success. Barca, Bayern, Ajax, Dutch team. He's clearly a massively tactically astute manager, probably one of the best we've ever had tactically. I fear that some of the players weren't, as much as they were good players, I'm not sure how many of them were actually tactically that smart. And he inherited a bit of a mismatched squad at that point. He had some of Fergie's boys. He brought some of his own boys in. He had the Fellaini and Mata hanging around, and Van Gaal's philosophy that was slow, and it was hard to watch. As a United fan, it was really hard to watch. I didn't really enjoy watching the games as a United fan.
He was a manager that was backed as well, right? So he had 300 million in 100 games. Some of the players he brought in, Luke Shaw, Angel Di Maria, Ander Herrera, Bastian Schweinsteiger, Memphis Depay, Anthony Martial. What did you make of his signings?
There were some of the good ones. I think Herrera was obviously a very good signing. He lost a bit of playing time under Mourinho. I really liked Herrera. He got stuck in the middle of the park. I think Depay he needed some time to adjust. Di Maria was supposed to be our star man, but he never wanted to be there. Yeah. He made it perfectly clear when Real Madrid wanted to offload him. He made it perfectly clear his first destination was PSG, and he was forced to come to us. And after his first few games, he had kind of 5 or 6 games. He started really well, then it got cold, and he just disappeared. He didn't want to be there. Simple as that.
A couple of odd ones though, right? Because obviously Angel Di Maria, after Man United, has gone on to even more success again. Memphis Depay obviously played very well recent years as well, and looks like he will probably get another big move in the near future.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Depay was a really talented player. He had all the attributes to be a successful player for United, but I think it was just the wrong time for him. I don't think he was mature enough to deal with that at that time.
But yeah, I always thought Man United played boring football under Louis van Gaal. I think I don't know. I think they were very reluctant to go out and go for the kill and go for the attacks. It was really, really patiently built up. I thought a lot of it was, recycling possession, go through the back four, go back. A lot of it was pass, and going from a David Moyes, who was maybe more of a back foot sort of coach, and then Louis van Gaal, who was more of a possession, keep the ball without, any purpose sort of coach. Again, two different managers with two different philosophies to Sir Alex Ferguson, and ultimately that's what, was potentially the downfall. Next up, talking about philosophies, the special one. The special one, Jose Mourinho, came in. So big personality, good manager. He's won a ton of different things. Real Madrid, Chelsea, Porto, Inter Milan. Probably Baron's favourite ever manager. I could be wrong. What did you think of the Jose Mourinho appointment to a Premier League rival coming from Chelsea?
No brainer.
No brainer. Go on.
It was a no-brainer to bring him in at United. I mean, probably the second ever greatest manager to ever be in the Premier League after Sir Alex.
My God!
They got themselves a winner, and he brought trophies to United as well. A couple of nice. I think it was a
Europa League,
League Cup, Community Shield.
Exactly. All in all, it was a successful tenure at United, and they were maybe a bit too forceful in getting rid of him.
You would say that.
I think that they could have easily given him a bit more time, I think, but gone are those days of being patient, sort of Wenger time to these managers. Yeah, I think his record was quite good for United. His win percentage was quite high, I believe. I think
it was higher than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's right now.
Yeah, it was pretty much identical with Fergie's actually. They both so Mourinho's was 59%, Fergie was 60% win percentage. Like you said, he also brought the most trophies. You know, he did spend the most money out of the managers that followed, 431 million. So he was definitely the one that was backed. And I think, like you said, I think given time, like they would have been even more successful. You know, he did have them finish second in the league in one season. They did get Champions League football under him. They did win trophies. But I think a lot of the fans just could not stand to see another game of football with Mourinho's tactics, you know?
Exactly.
I think it had, I think him losing his job had more to do with his style of play, having seen the exciting football like, end to end that people used to see under Ferguson, to see Mourinho's style, quite a contrast. He was always doomed to fail, I think. He's never really lasted longer than a few seasons at any club, right? What was his longest period at club? Maybe
he's an acquired taste. He's become an acquired taste over the years, isn't he?
I think Daniel Levy is happy now. He's replaced no trophy Pochettino with Mr. Mourinho, right? So they'll happily take a couple of years.
I thought his relationship with, and again, I don't know, media and whatnot, I thought his relationship with Man United broke down with him sort of openly criticising Ed Woodward and transfers and things like that. I could be wrong.
No, you're right. There was a big thing, right? He wanted another centre-back after they had already bought him, 30 million for Bailly and 40 million for Lindelof, but he wanted another centre-back.
Yeah, just like a spoiled kid, really, wasn't he?
No, not at all. Completely disagree with that. Not a spoiled kid. The legend.
Well, he's not used to getting Chelsea money, and he's used to getting what he wants under Abramovich. So.
I mean, he got quite a lot, though, right? So he got Paul Pogba, Henrik Mkhitaryan, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, Lukaku, Alexis Sanchez.
I mean, look at those players, isn't it? Crazy.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go over to the actual Man United fan here, Coach Alex, and then maybe he can clear it up for us. Coach, what do you think? What was Jose Mourinho's pros and cons?
Got to be honest, I think we hired Mourinho as an absolute last resort. I don't think we ever wanted him within our football club. I think he's toxic. Poisons everywhere he goes, in my opinion. He does great for 2, maybe 3 years, and then everything falls to pieces. If you just look at the players that we've got and the history of the club that we've got under Fergie, even if someone had the worst game in their life, Fergie would never hang them out to dry. Fergie would protect them. And then you've got Jose Mourinho. They have one bad game, and he'll dig them out in TV for the whole world to see.
He does seem to sort of like pick his battles, though, doesn't he? Like he seems to like pick on, like single someone out. It seems to me like he does it as like a deliberate psychological effect for the squad. He kind of chooses one player. You're going to be the guy that takes all the hits this season, you know, so that people see I'm the authoritarian, I'm the boss here.
Dele Alli right now for Spurs.
Yeah, you had Joe Cole at Chelsea, who he gave a hard time to.
Luke Shaw.
Luke Shaw was this. So I think he really does pick a guy and he's like, you're my guy, you're getting your ass kicked this season so that the team does better and respects me.
Yeah, like Baron Colton. He is a winner, he does deliver, and I think we had to at that time because the pressure was on Woodward, and you've got to think Woodward's trying to keep his job as well. If we kept going down that not winning anything route, I think he would have lost his job earlier. In some respect, maybe Mourinho saved Woodward's job.
The style of football wasn't, United fans weren't used to seeing that kind of football being played. At Chelsea, I was used to it because you know, I love
grew up on that shit, right?
I mean, I love like a back four, proper solid defense, 2 defensive midfielders. It's beautiful, you know, to win a game like that. But obviously, it's a bit of a culture clash for United supporters and stuff.
And any other football fan that actually has a history.
I can understand that.
Peak Mourinho with that first Chelsea team he built, just unbelievable. But he never kind of created that dominance at United.
Yeah.
Anyway, what about our man Ollie?
Ollie at the wheel. Ollie's at the wheel. Man United are back, as Rio Ferdinand said, huh?
Back again. Top of the league.
So,
Very
Ole
exciting
Gunnar
time.
Solskjaer, huh? I find this the weirdest one. I don't know, when his back's against the wall, when he feel like he's going to get the sack, the team just come with another wave of results. And I don't know about you guys, but 1 minute I'm looking at Man United halfway down the league. Next minute I'm looking up and they can go top. So I don't know what's going on, but Man United are right now top of the league, puffing their chest out now again against Liverpool fans, and that rivalry's reignited. Where to start with Ollie? Let's go with Coach Ollie at the wheel.
So as a United fan, we are maybe up there with some of the most romantic fans in the world, and we love one of our old boys to come back. If you look at how many times we have academy players in the team, I think it's from 1937 we've had an academy product in the team in every single game. We are old romantics. After the whole Munich air crash and the Busby babes and bringing these kids in, we are a bit more patient with our own. I wouldn't have been upset if we hadn't have got Van Gaal in and we'd given Giggs a go. That wouldn't have upset me. And when Ollie came in, I thought, what a fantastic opportunity. Ollie, I was 11 years old when he prodded in that 93rd minute winner against Bayern Munich. So Ollie's always been a hero of mine. And I was genuinely happy for the boy. He's a nice guy. He doesn't dig any of the players out. And he came in and he had such an instant impact. I mean, I genuinely don't know how much coaching was involved in his great run, putting PSG out. And that, what was it, 13 games unbeaten when he first took over. I don't know if he did any coaching whatsoever, to be honest. It's just that the atmosphere was so toxic under Mourinho. It must have been awful for the players there. And Ollie's just come in and taken all that pressure off them, taken all the negativity around them and just let them play football. His whole United career so far has just come in waves. So he'll have a great run, then he'll have a bad run, then he'll have a good run, then a bad one, then a good run. This is his third decent wave. He's putting together more productive waves. I'm happy. It was boring to watch us under Mourinho. It was boring to watch us under Van Gaal. At least we're exciting. The last few games, we're scraping 1-0 wins.
But you got to do that, right? If you're going to be a title challenger, there are going to be those games.
Absolutely. And Ollie laughs about it every game. After every match, he has his famous phrase at the moment is, we make it hard for ourselves. And we do. But I'm on the edge of my seat. He gets into it because you want to be entertained. And I'm entertained for 95 minutes every time we play a game. It helps when you're at the top of the league, but I'm enjoying it. And as a United fan, that's all I can hope for. I'm loving it.
I think like one of the biggest things he did is he kind of came in and fixed the culture of the club, right? I think there was a lot of bad apples at the club. He was getting rid of them left, right and centre. And he just kind of restored the Man United values. You know, everything's about pace, power, counter-attacks. He's been backed in the market, definitely. 300 million. They're quality signings. I'm not even sure how much influence he's having on these signings. Some of these guys don't strike me as a Ollie signing. Obviously brought in Harry Maguire, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and the big one, obviously Bruno Fernandes in the last January window, right? The impact that he's had. But when I look at the Man United squad now, like they just have a lot of talent around the place, right? Even their bench is very strong. You know, if people like Paul Pogba don't even need to start every game, he's in a very good run of form at the moment. But, you know, when you can make those decisions to have Van der Beek on the bench or Mason Greenwood on the bench, if you were looking at it now, like as a Man United fan, you're saying, okay, we want to go out and make one huge signing to go and guarantee us the title. There's not really like anybody, like other than the obvious, like a Messi or Ronaldo that you would say would walk into that Man United team. Other than maybe like a Luke Shaw, maybe I would say is a bit under par compared to the rest of the team.
Yeah, I mean, he's come in and he's made a real positive impact. Again, like I say, I agree with you. I'm not sure exactly who it is that he's had the authority over the signings, but I think there's a lot more going on behind the scenes. Obviously, I pay a lot more attention than a lot of people would do, but we're kind of signing these top-rated kids at 16, 17. We've got this Hannibal. He's from Monaco. And we paid big money for it. I think it was about 5 million, potentially up to 10 million for a 15-year-old boy. We've got this Spanish midfielder, Gaal, who he's a little bit older. He's about 19, 20. But he's a really good player. He's in some real good form for the under-23 side.
Yeah, you got Amad Diallo, right? You just joined for 19 million.
Yeah, and that Palestri. We've got a lot of good youngsters. We've just signed 2 strikers, one from Man Utd, he's got kind of 600 goals at youth team levels, and he's only 15, 16. And they're really looking to try and spend big on kids almost and wait, allow them to develop.
Well, that's the one thing, though. You don't really have like a player that's really breaking through the academy at the moment, right? Like a homegrown player. You had, what was his name, Brandon Williams. at left back last season a little bit.
Yeah.
Mason Greenwood is obviously a big one.
Marcus Rashford.
But he's been around for what, 5 seasons? What is this, 5th season for Rashford now?
Bloody, still young, isn't he? Really young.
He's still like 22 or whatever. I don't know.
Crazy.
Yeah, I think this is his 5th full season, the first team. But it makes. I mean, the fact that Mason Greenwood isn't just, regarded as an academy product now because he's just established in the first team. I mean, he's a real quality player, but I think there's got to be space for them to come in. And like you say, there's a lot of talent in that squad. And yeah, there's a space for potentially a left back, which Brandon Williams is. And he came in pushing Shaw, but now he's signed Tellez. Williams' game time is getting slowly diminished. I mean, there's got to be the space for these kids to come in, or else where are they going to play?
So I'll put it to you. If you're Ed Woodward right now, or you're Ollie, is there someone that would you want Man United to go out and sign a big player, or just tidy up a little position, or are you happy with what you got in terms of trying to get this title over the line after it being, 8 years since the last Premier League title?
I think we've had our fingers burnt before with Mourinho pushing for the Sanchez signing. I think Sanchez was supposed to be the guy that came in and delivered. I would be tempted to hold fire. Our problem positions are... There's still highlighted that centre-back issue. I don't think Lindelof's the long-term partner for Maguire. Because
I don't think those two work as a pairing, right? But Bailly, since he's come back in, has looked really strong.
Bailly's always... He's had moments of complete just loses his head at times. Sometimes he's a bit too aggressive, but I don't mind that. I like a central defender that's going to get stuck in. He's always struggled with injuries. He's never been able to keep himself fit for long periods. We seem to have stumbled across a nice formula of Bailly next to Maguire, because Bailly's got the pace to get Maguire out of the trouble if he gets sucked in. But there's still talk about us getting another centre back, and I think that's purely to cover the injury proneness of Bailly. And then there's the right wing. The right wing's a problem for us. All our attacks come down the left, so we're a bit predictable.
Yeah, I'm not too sure about Rashford from the right. He tried Cavani through the middle and Rashford on the right, Martial on the left. Obviously, they're top players. They can do it, but it's not really the answer, I don't think, long term, right? But I think, Mason Greenwood, in a couple of seasons, I think he could be ready for that role. Or you think they'll go back after Sancho?
I hope we don't, actually, because if we do go in for Sancho, there's that, why get this Amid Diallo? I completely agree with you, Tony. Rashford is not the same. He's a shadow of himself on the right-hand side. The problem with Rashford on the right is he's not got that rasping power off his left. So when he cuts in from the left, he's a real threat because he can hit that swerving, dipping, horrible shot. He hasn't got that off his left. You lose one of his key attributes.
Just from looking at Man United over the last month, Ollie's been quite flexible in the system that he plays, right? I think when they were playing Wolves or Leeds, he played a 4-4-2 diamond. He's moving some things around. So is there a case to say that he doesn't know what his strongest system is yet? Pogba's come in. You said before, Cavani on down the middle, Martial on the left, Rashford on the right in your last outing.
But one thing I will say is they do seem to have everything in their squad. So even if a certain 11 or something, you say he's fiddling about, but there's plenty of different options, right?
Yeah, I think so.
But Pogba has come back, hasn't he?
He's been loyal to Pogba from day one since he's taken over.
He missed a few games though, right? Like they dropped him for a little while. He was kind of playing second fiddle to the likes of Fred, McTominay, Matic. But in this recent run to the top of the league, he has played a key part, I think.
He's been really good. And I think that's going to be the problem for any manager, whoever it is, with Pogba. The Pogba conundrum is he doesn't really want to play in that two. He wants to have a bit more freedom. A lot of Pogba's recent form, from a cynical point of view, he started playing really well, and I thought he's just gearing himself up to put himself in the shop window in January. And that was my initial thought, because he does it all the time. My belief now is that I think that Pogba and all the other boys, they see all the other teams dropping points, and it's almost getting to a point where no one's putting a run together. They're the only team that is. I think they genuinely believe that this season is there to be won. Whether we do or not, I think that they believe that they can.
Yeah, I think if Man City and Liverpool were delivering the 105-point seasons, then United would not be in with a shot, right? But this doesn't look like that's happening this year.
Corona hit season, but I think United will safely be in top four. In the top four.
Okay, well let's ask the big question. Don't you want to pose it or?
All right, well, yeah, we'll put this on the poll as well, right? But where would United finish in 2021, right? I personally feel they've had, and maybe, they sometimes say, you make your own luck, but I think they've got away with maybe one against Burnley. They were potentially fortunate against Wolves with a last-minute Rashford deflected goal. I don't think that they deserved a penalty against Aston Villa. They've been the most form out of anyone, really, over the last sort of 5 games. And just with the inconsistency of everybody else, I think they found themselves there at the top. Funny, actually we did a podcast last year, and it was a Lampard, Arteta, Solskjaer poll, and it was who was going to get the sack out of all 3 of them. And I think Solskjaer was at top, right? So it's what we know sometimes. But I think
Mate, you're supposed to be promoting the podcast, not
man. It's all right. We're controversial.
Slandering us.
We speak our minds, though, right? We speak our minds. We go with our heart, and I think at that time, I think everyone would have said that. But again, as Coach said, it was that found another wave. They found another wave. I think Man United's next wave is on the way down. Given their next sort of 6 or 7 fixtures, I think they'll find it a little bit tough. I think they'll finish within the top 4, 5, anywhere between 3 and 5. I don't think they'll be in title contention with 6 or 7 games to go. And I have put my money where my mouth is as a Man United fan that thought they were going to win the title. So I've got a $100 bet with him. I think he got a little horny when Man United got to the top of the league.
Top, yeah.
But
you always get them when they're horny, innit?
He ain't going to get them with his face, is he?
So between 3 and 5, Baron, what do you think?
They've got a team that can win the title. Personally, think they can win the title with this team. So much quality in midfield.
Hold on, just to cut you off there. Sorry, didn't you say like Tottenham and Chelsea and Manchester?
Chelsea are going to win the league, apparently.
If you name all 19,
Tottenham will be the runners-up. Liverpool will be 6th.
Hey, hear me out. I think they got the quality to win the league. I didn't say they're going to win the league. I said they with the players that they have, 100% they can.
You have more flip-flops than my dad.
I think they'll finish in the...
Come on, a number, not the top 10. Give us a fucking number.
It's hard. It's tough. I think they're going to win the title.
Oh
my God.
I should have put 100 quid on that one, right?
I think they'll win the title.
Dog me, get that $100 checkbook back out.
Can we get an on-air bet, please? Because I will take as much money as Barrett is willing to offer. I'm throwing out 4 for Man United, by the way. I throw out 4.
Not confident about them winning the title. I think they will. I think they'll do it. I'm not going to put much money on them.
So glad we can get this out in the big wild world.
It's going to be a close title fight, isn't it? It's going to be a close title fight.
I do think Man United will be in the title race. I don't think that they will finish top, but I do think it will be quite close. I see Liverpool, Man City and Man United as the top 3. If I had to pick right now, I'd probably say Man City, I think, will win the league this year. But I'll say Man United for 2nd place. But I do think it'll be very, very close between 1st, 2nd and 3rd.
Okay, interesting.
Grinding at results, aren't they? Grinding.
So I say 4th. Baron says 1. You say
2nd.
2nd. Okay, all right. Well, Man United fan and guest appearance today, Mr. Coach.
So,
what do you think? What do you think? Is it heart or your head? What are you going with?
My heart says 1st. Obviously, it's of course I dream to see it there. My head is actually going to go somewhere. I think 4, and I think the 2 teams that are better than us are Liverpool and Man City. Sickening it is to say about those 2 guys. They are phenomenal. The way Liverpool have coped without Van Dijk to begin with was impressive.
It's starting to show, right?
That Matip is the only centre-back they've got. I think that might cause them problems. City looking really good at the moment. I'm really impressed with Gundogan. I think he's really...
he's tidy. He's been quality for years. I think he's one of the underrated players.
A young tank.
Yeah. But also underrated players, I really rate Fred as well. I think Fred is not highly appreciated by Man United fans. But in terms of consistent performance week in, week out for Man United, I think Fred's right up there.
Yeah, absolutely. I really rate Fred. Just like Gundogan, I think he's doing a really solid job. But City, at the moment, they're not struggling for goals to say, but they haven't got that focal point of their attack. They're missing that Aguero.
Obviously, Aguero's been out, and Sane as well, I think, was a big loss, right, letting him go as well. I don't think they replaced him. And Mahrez is obviously a top player. They got plenty of top players, Bernardo Silva, but I hear what you're saying. Jesus isn't really a guy you can, link up with. He's not holding up the play, but they definitely got a lot of talent. All right, guys, I think that wraps it up for this week. Let us know in our Twitter, TDS_the Dog Show. The question is, where will Man United finish in the 2021 season? Will they be champions, runners-up, Champions League position, or outside the top four? Thanks for joining.
Thanks.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye.